Well, Uku, we can finally enjoy our day at the beach. Hey, what's this? Oh no! Uku, the quicksand! It's got me! Please, tell my subscribers! I love them! Well, yes, I know nobody watches this channel, but you don't have to rub it in. Why don't you let me have my moment here? I'm about to die! What? What do you mean I'm not gonna die? I'm in quicksand. Have you seen Indiana Jones? Huh. Well, I guess I have stopped sinking. Well, that's a tad anticlimactic. Hey, Uku, could you grab that stick over there? Okay, so as if I needed more reasons to dislike the beach, I can now add ruining my super cool space cloak to the list. Luckily, I always carry an identical backup super cool space cloak, just in case of this kind of event. Now, as luck would have it, this is actually one I wanted to talk about. Quicksand. I was scrolling through social media the other day and I realized that there's a significant amount of people who just outright don't believe quicksand exists at all. And I think this is because they see it often in movies and TV shows, but they've never actually seen it in real life. So since they've only seen it in media, they're like, well, I mean, it just has to be something made up, right? And that makes sense. So if you haven't seen the first video of this series where I talk about things that we think are fake but are actually real, I'll put it in the description below. I referenced Dr. Octopus in that one. But here I wanted to talk about not only the fact that quicksand is an actual thing, but also that there are other misconceptions regarding quicksand also because of media. So the first thing, again, quicksand very much exists. Basically, what it is super saturated ground. It can be dirt, sand, really fine gravel, those kind of things. Anything of that nature, if it's super saturated by water, it can turn into essentially quicksand. So you'll usually find these places near lakes or ravines or, of course, beaches. Because, again, we don't need more reasons to dislike beaches. Yes, I know you like them, Uku, but I don't, so I'm going to complain about it, okay? Anyways, so yeah, they're abundantly found in just about any place that carries large amounts of water. So whenever you're hiking or trailing through those areas, you do have to keep an eye out. But the first really big misconception regarding quicksand is that you kind of just plonk into it. It's a very progressive sinking. You will sink to a certain point. Yeah, that part's true. But it's not like you just step in it and all of a sudden you just start diving into it and there's no way out. Most of the time, people will realize that they start to sink, and as long as they move quickly enough, they will probably be able to get out of it okay. Now, that doesn't mean people never get stuck in quicksand. It happens for more than one reason. Maybe there's a lot of it. Maybe they don't realize in time. Maybe it's a little too saturated, so it sinks them just quickly enough. A lot of cases can happen where a lot of people will get stuck in quicksand. But the other good news is, unlike in the movies, in quicksand, you only usually sink to about halfway. Due to the human body pretty much being generally less dense than quicksand, by the laws of physics, it's kind of next to impossible for you to pretty much sink completely, at least without intentionally trying to do so. Now, yeah, it's still very much possible to drown in quicksand, but it'd have to be like a weird scenario where you somehow get stuck head first or some other event I might not be thinking about. With that said, though, even though you don't die in the same way you die like in movies, it's still very possible for you to die from quicksand. When people do die in quicksand, most of the time it's because they get stuck there and it's either something gets them or they just die from sheer starvation and or dehydration. So, what do you do if you get stuck in real world quicksand? Well, if you're like me, you're smart enough to carry around your own uku that has an insane amount of strength that honestly sometimes frightens you. But if you don't have your own uku around, then here's what you need to do. First, of course, remove all of unnecessary weight, backpacks, bracelets, helmets, anything like that. Next, you want to lay down on your back. What this will allow you to do is spread your weight over a larger surface area, so it's less force sinking down into the quicksand. After that point, you kind of want to do this backstroke kind of thing. It'll take you a while. Don't get me wrong, you're not going to be swimming like an Olympic athlete, even if you are one. But after a long period of time of swimming kind of towards some semblance of solid ground, at that point you should be able to just leverage yourself out. But the most important thing, like in just about every emergent situation ever to grace us, is stay calm and think it through. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please, I'm begging you, hit that like button. I lost an entire set of wardrobe over this video, so I would really appreciate it if you could at least do that. I am very, very desperate, as I'm sure you know by now. And of course, if you have any other ideas for what kind of videos in this series of things people believe aren't real but are real because of movies that I should do next, please leave it in the comments section below. Or again, if you want to tell me how great I am, I'm certainly not going to mind that either. Otherwise, make sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell button because I post every other week. And until next time, hear nothing and listen to all. Bye guys.